Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. مثل الذين اتخذوا من دون الله أولياء كمثل العنكبوت اتخذت بيت وإن أوحن البيوت لبيت العنكبوت. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وتلك الأمثال نضربوها للناس وما يكلوها إلى العالمون. It is a beautiful day. Today is March 18th, and it's a beautiful day. The weather is outstanding, and it's just a simply beautiful day. The people out in the park, enjoying the weather, impervious and comfortably numb to the afflictions that are surrounding them that they cannot get away from. Impervious to the destruction that they are heaping upon themselves. It is incredible, but this is the nature of living comfortably numb, accepting the condition that they're in, becoming friends with it, and not making any moves to even seek to consider a solution. Right now, when we consider and we look at this, we see a society, a culture that was shut down by COVID, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shut everything down. Where He shut down the means of entertainment and social interaction. Where all these things have been cut off, the things that the human being lives to enjoy in his trek of escapism of life. Allah shut it down. The baseball games, the football games, the basketball games, the theater, restaurants. He put McDonald's hamburgers back in the refrigerator. He reduced Burger King to a slave. And man still does not consider the impact, what it meant, what the trial and tribulation that he went through, what it meant, its significance, to try to accept the change. But with human beings, change never comes. They become comfortably numb in doing what they do. They accept their destruction. They make friends with their destruction. They adopt their destruction. Case in point, the society for a good week's work, a man and or a woman is rewarded for a good week's work of supporting his family or her family, meeting their obligations in support of that family, to provide for their children and their wives or husbands, and to improve the condition of their life, to provide a better future. And they work hard. They slave in that week in order to provide that sacrifice that will provide the kind of lives that they desire for their families. While at the same time, they are bombarded by commercials of Budweiser, Corona, Heineken, different kinds of alcohol like Bacardi, vodka. Indeed, they call these alcoholic beverages spirits. Imagine. They call them spirits, and now liquor stores are open on Sunday where at one time they were closed. Drugs have been made legal. Marijuana has been made legal. And other drugs have been made legal. So what happens is that the government has become a partner monetarily, for monetary gain, shall I say. And these acts that are heaped upon the people that the society itself has defined as being destructive. But the society itself, while complaining about the epidemic of alcoholism and drug abuse and the deaths that it's causing and the destruction that it's causing and the chaos that it's causing, the assault on the family that it's causing, the destruction of the overall society that it's causing, while it acknowledges that reality, it says that a hard-working person, law-abiding, hard-working person, has earned the right on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, Friday and Saturday mostly, to go to the bar, to get drunk, to go to a discotheque and dance and get drunk, to go and combine that alcohol with drugs, to get absolutely blasted, intoxicated, that they've earned that right on the weekends. That a good week's work of dedicated, hard work, law-abiding, good work by a good individual supporting his family, that he has earned the right to commit acts of self-destruction on the weekends. How can such a society, complaining about the ills that are destroying it, begin to enact a remedy or a solution when it has made the very acts that are destroying it reward? Unto that now we add the legalization of gambling. First of all, let me look at cigarettes. Let's look at cigarettes. With the cigarettes, it causes cancer. It costs like $15 a pack. Poor people buying it, $15 a pack. It causes cancer and other illnesses. It's legal. The government makes a certain percentage off of every pack of cigarettes sold. So there's a vested interest. And the biggest drug dealer in the world, the government. So every pack sold, though it's killing its people, causing cancer and putting an impact on the healthcare system, the government facilitates it and takes a part of the proceeds while seeing its only obligation to post that smoking may be dangerous to your health, that it has fulfilled its obligation. But it's fulfilling the very act that is destroying people, destroying and putting a stress on society and putting stresses on the healthcare system and the economics of the very society that the government is sworn to govern. And again, the government makes money off of every pack of cigarette, discounting the money it loses in healthcare and healthcare costs, as that just breeds more bureaucracy and more money avenues for the government, which are never spent in reality in the types of programs that help the populace or the collective of their people. So now that very same concept is being spread now to gambling. Gambling on sports one time was prohibited. It was a crime. Now that has been legalized, where you can gamble via the internet on sports immediately. It has made gambling accessible to everybody regardless of their age. And then to give themselves a moniker or an air of being responsible, the government issues with every one of these sports books on TV that if you have a gambling problem, to seek help. Imagine that if you have, now with gambling, they tell you gambling all over TV, on sports books where you can bet on every single sporting event that there is, regardless of age. The government now making it legal, taking a percentage from that money, feels that its only obligation, that it met its obligation as responsible government by putting a warning before you gamble. That if you have a gambling problem, seek help. The greatest hypocrisy that I've ever seen in fact in the history of human existence. The want is for you to gamble. The reality is that you will develop a gambling problem because its nature is addictive. But look, again, the society. People comfortably numb, accepting as legal the very means by which they facilitate their own destruction. So this is something that is prevalent. And you see it. Because this society that denies the active existence and participation of God into its society. It denies it. It sees God as a threat to the freedoms that define this society. So God is seen as a threat. And therefore, the onus becomes monetary gain at all costs. Fulfilling whatever desire people may have, no matter the destructive effect that it may have on the individual or the collective. And it continues. The things that the very government identifies destroys the moral and social structure of its collective, the government legalizes and profits from. How can you get out of that condition? This is because it denies God. It sees God as a threat to the creed that denies democratic, liberal freedoms, while the people suffer. They suffer without knowing, comfortably numb, aiding in their own destruction, never feeling, never understanding that they are actively participating voluntarily in their own destruction at the behest and facilitation of their own government. So this is what you see. We're coming out of COVID. Instead of people right now realizing what COVID was and the impact that it was, and seeing the power of God over his creation, God sending them signals and a sign telling them to redirect, to reassess, and to refocus on reality and those things that benefit them in life, people instead continue, after coming out of COVID, to indulge even more in the acts of self-destruction that they were restricted from during the COVID. They indulge more. I'm going to get more high. I'm going to drink more alcohol. I'm going to do every single thing that I knew was destroying me. I'm going to double up and do it more now because I want to enjoy life. what you think is enjoying life. And the enjoyment of life has become not the living of life, but the escaping of it. And now, the sickness will metastasize itself. This summer in New York City, in the inner cities of the United States of America and the Western world, it will be a very hot summer. And I'm not talking about the heat. I'm talking about the acts of self-destruction that human beings on an every single day basis will commit as easily as taking their next breath. This is the loss of this society. This is what Christianity is. This is what Western Christian so-called liberal civilization is. It is the most racist, warlike civilization that this world has ever known. Right now, we are living through the greatest statement of universal racism that we have ever seen in the history of human existence. And people are numb to it. We're headed to a third world war. The world lost a lot when Islam left and left a void. When Islam left this position of dominance and importance and influence, and the world gave way to the Christian world that we're living today, truly the world has lost a lot, and it continues to suffer. Me as a Puerto Rican, as a Hispanic, even in the rituals that we follow, this is just another example. In the rituals that we follow on Christmas, we celebrate the very things that destroy us. And the day when Christians supposedly celebrate the birth of Jesus, Christians celebrate by committing acts of destruction that goes from generation to generation. They decorate their trees, they decorate their presents, they have parties, they eat food, arroz con gandule, pernil, pasteles. They sing aguinaldo. They sing songs like Si no me dan de beber, lloro, si no me dan de beber. They sing songs like Un lechoncito a la barra y un licor pa beber. In both cases, they're celebrating the consumption of alcohol, getting drunk and celebrating the consumption of alcohol on Christmas, the day they celebrate the birthday of Jesus. And when the child sees that every Christmas, when the child sees their parent at 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 years old, like I did when I was Christian, where I saw my family eating the food, celebrating, opening presents, enjoying each other's company and love of family, I also saw them consuming Bacardi. I also saw them consuming vodka. I also saw them consuming Budweiser and Schaefer at the time and getting drunk. And as a child watching this, you begin to assimilate this as normal. The very acts that are destructive being celebrated on Christmas, you see the consumption of alcohol being normal. So as you grow up, you're 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years old. And you all, at the age of 13, you say, let me have a shot of Bacardi. At 13, under the Christmas tree, while watching your parents get drunk, while watching your family get drunk, while watching them celebrate Christmas, the child grows up believing that it's normal. At 17, the kid goes out into the street, seeing his parents celebrate Christmas with Bacardi and Heineken. The kid goes out into the street at 17. The father said, "You can't drink. You're too young to drink." The kid goes into the street. He gets high with his buddies. He begins to smoke marijuana with his buddies. He begins to see that what he couldn't do at Christmas with his family, he can get high in the streets with his buddies. At 18, he's killed in the street, shot dead in the street for selling drugs. The parent then, every Christmas then, the parent becomes sad, and they become sad and they cry, "Coño, mi hijo lo mataron." And the parent raises a glass of Bacardi and say, "Coño, mataron mi hijo." And he raises the bottle of Bacardi and drinks it, never understanding that he was the one that killed his son. Every Christmas, when he raised the bottle, when he opened the present, every New Year's, when at 12 o'clock he opened a bottle of champagne, he killed his son. The streets didn't kill him. The mother and father killed him. And this is what I mean about loss. They don't understand that death comes by your own hands. Meanwhile, it's all about the gozadera and the party. Look. People walking the streets in that state. Others completely out of their minds. If I'm lying, I'm flying. Then you have other people that are completely insane. And they don't see it. Look, man, if I'm lying, I'm flying. Look at it. People talking to themselves. Bugging straight up. Because they don't want to understand what the reality of life is. They want to keep up the party life. They celebrate the freedom of destruction that this society offers. But in the Quran we have guidance. When you have guidance, the Quran says, وَتِلْكَ الْأَمْثَالُ نَضْرِبُوهَا لِلنَّاسِ وَمَا يَقِلُوهَا لِلْعَالِمُونَ. We have people lost. And we have Muslims that are lost. Muslims that are lost. Completely lost. So if the teacher is lost, the student is lost, it's time to wake up. It's time to face the realities. The sirens of the police car, the sirens of distress. The sirens of distress that happen every single day in the inner cities. The sirens of distress that go off in the heads of people that they don't listen to. The sirens of distress that are going off in the heads of people that they don't listen to. It's not about police cars. This is my neighborhood. It's not about police cars. It's not about the sirens that go off. It's not about the sirens that go off in the streets. It's about the sirens in people's heads that they don't listen to. The sirens in people's heads that they don't listen to, the warnings that internally every single human being has that they do not listen to, because they have inculcated themselves in a society that has rejected God. I give all praise and thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that guided me from out of this condition. Because in me and those like me, there is hope. There is the reality of possibility. And the truth that comes with it. The reality of possibility. As the Quran says, Al-haqqa muttakasiru hatta dutum maqabir kalla sawfa ta'lam.